Hello, friends. It's Missy and Ciola. How are you? I am so excited to be teaching you how to research the answer to a question so that we can use the information we find to eventually write our own research texts. That will allow us to share everything we've learned with our readers. Remember, I am going to show you all of the steps right now, one after the other, but you can take your time viewing each one and pause them in between or rewatch them as many times as you would like while you're working through the whole process. The first thing that we are going to have to do is pick a topic. We all should have already chosen one animal from a list last week as your topic. Do you remember what your animal was? Go ahead and tell me. Now, hold that in your brain while you watch this video so that you can start to think about following the steps I do, but with the animal that you decided to research with afterwards. My animal is a shark. Now, you might be thinking, that wasn't on the list. And guess what? You're right, it wasn't on the list. A shark was not included on your list because I am going to use it to model what your job is going to be. So I wanted to make sure that you would be able to research something new. Now it's time to think of a question to research about your animal. You might be wondering what your animal looks like, so you can learn more about its different parts. Then you could ask, what does a blank look like? You might be wondering what your animal eats, so you can learn more about its diet and how it gets its food. Then you could ask, what does a blank eat? You might be wondering what your animal likes to do, so you can learn more about its daily life and what that looks like. Then you could ask, what does a blank like to do? You might be wondering where your animal lives, so you can learn more about its habitat. Then you could ask, where does a blank live? Or you might be wondering how your animal survives, so you can learn more about what it needs and how it gets those needs met. Then you could ask, how does a blank survive? I am wondering, how does a shark survive? So that's going to be my research question. What are you wondering about your animal? Now it's time to set up my notes sheet. To do this, I'm going to take a blank piece of paper. Then I'm going to write my research question at the top. So I'm going to write, how does a shark survive? I'm going to carefully sound out my words. Tell me what letters you hear and I will record them. How, w, does, d, s, a, shark, r, survive, I, and I'm going to put a question mark at the end because I'm asking a question. When you set up your notes sheet, you will write your own research question at the top. Next, I need to make sure that I have some spaces just for my notes. So I'm going to draw a large rectangle and break it up into 6 smaller boxes like this. Watch. If I discover that I need more space than that for my notes as I'm researching, I can always flip over to the back or grab a new blank piece of paper to set up like this again. Now it is time to start researching. Researchers can gather information from all different sources, like videos, images, and texts. We are going to explore all of these step by step, starting with videos. I'm going to open the presentation that I had about sharks because that was my animal. Then I'm going to see that there are 3 different videos to choose from to do my research. I am going to select just one and click on it. I'm going to watch this video twice. The first time I am going to watch just for pleasure, so I will not take any notes yet. Videos usually have so much information, so it's a really great idea just to view them to enjoy them at the beginning of our research. As I watch, I am just going to notice things that I'm surprised by or did not know. Let's try together. I think I am going to choose the second video. There's the first one. There's the second one.
Sharks silently stalking through the deep blue ocean comes the sleek and scary shark. Sharks are large carnivorous fish with sharp teeth, a dorsal fin on their back, and strong, powerful tails so they can swim fast.
I didn't know that part on top of a shark was called the dorsal fin.
There are lots of different sharks. Whale sharks are the biggest shark. They open their mouths really wide and eat lots of tiny plankton and krill. Whale sharks move relatively slow compared to other sharks. Like great white sharks, which are much faster, making them amazing hunting machines. Other smaller sharks live in the warm waters around coral reefs. And funny-looking hammerhead sharks have heads that look like hammers.
Wow, look at how many different kinds of sharks there are.
All sharks have gills, which they use to breathe. They get oxygen from the water as it flows through their gills. This means they need to keep moving all of the time, even while they're sleeping. Baby sharks are called pups. When they're born, they're all alone and have to look after themselves.
Oh my goodness.
Some even have to be careful they don't get eaten by their mom. That's not very nice, is it? Would you like to swim the oceans like a majestic shark?
Now I am going to rewatch the same video, but this time I'm going to pause when I see or hear something that answers my question. How do sharks survive? So that I can write that information down. While I might find other interesting facts about sharks, if they don't answer my research question, I am not going to record them.
Sharks silently stalking through the deep blue ocean comes the sleek and scary shark. Sharks are large carnivorous fish with sharp teeth, a dorsal fin on their back, and strong, powerful tails so they can swim fast. There are lots of different sharks. Whale sharks are the biggest shark. They open their mouths really wide and eat lots of tiny plankton and krill. Whale sharks move relatively slow compared to other sharks. Like great white sharks, which are much faster, making them amazing hunting machines. Other smaller sharks live in the warm waters around coral reefs. And funny-looking hammerhead sharks have heads that look like hammers. All sharks have gills, which they use to breathe.
Wow, so I just learned that sharks have gills that help them breathe in oxygen from the water, which is something that helps them survive. Now, when I record my notes, there are 3 different ways that I can do that. I can draw a picture, I could write a word or a phrase, which is a few words put together, or I could write a sentence to remind me of the information that I learned. For this fact, I'm going to record it as a picture with a label. When I draw a picture as a note, I just sketch with a pencil. I'm going to use my marker this time so that you can see it better though. Now I am going to sound out the word gills as I label my picture. As I do, tell me the letters you hear, and I am going to write them. G, I, L, S. And I'm going to draw an arrow so that I know what the gills are. Now I'm going to go back to the video and I'm going to play it right from where I paused it.
They get oxygen from the water as it flows through their gills. This means they need to keep moving all of the time, even while they're sleeping.
Wow, so I just learned that sharks have to keep swimming in order for their gills to work and help them breathe, meaning that they swim even when they are asleep. That's something that helps them survive. For this fact, I'm going to record it as a phrase that says, must always swim to breathe. I'm going to sound out my words. As I do, you can tell me the letters you hear. Must. Always. Swim. To. Breathe. Now I'm going to play the video right from where I paused it.
Baby sharks are called pups. When they're born, they're all alone and have to look after themselves. Some even have to be careful they don't get eaten by their mom. That's not very nice, is it? Would you like to swim the oceans like a majestic shark?
Now that I have finished taking notes from one video on sharks, I am done researching from videos. But I can certainly go back and watch either of the other two videos if I wanted to for more information. If I felt like there was something that I missed in this video, I could rewatch this one a third time too. One really important thing to remember is that even if I already knew a fact about sharks that answered my research question, I still recorded it so that I would remember that I could use that piece of information in my writing when I look back on my notes later. I tried to record at least 2 notes from each resource I researched from, but you may only find 1, or maybe you'll find 3 or more. Now I am going to research from an image. I'm going to continue through the presentation about sharks because that was my animal. Then I can see that there's a diagram of a shark to do my research from. This time I'm just going to study my image. I can look at it for as long as I need to in order to decide what would be the best information that answers my research question to record in my notes. There's the third video. Here is my image, a diagram of a great white shark. What do you notice? First, I noticed that sharks have very sharp teeth to help them catch and eat their prey, which is something that helps them survive. For this fact, I'm going to record it as a picture with a label. Now, I'm going to sound out the words sharp teeth. As I do, tell me the letters you hear, and I'm going to record them. Sharp teeth. E. And I'm going to draw an arrow so I know where its sharp teeth are. I also noticed that sharks have a lot of different fins and tails to help them swim quickly and smoothly through the water, which is something that helps them survive. For this fact, I'm going to record it as a sentence that says, different fins and tails help sharks swim quickly and smoothly. I'm going to sound out the words. As I do, tell me the letters you hear. Different, D, I, rent, fins, ins, and tails, tails, help, help, sharks, sharks, swim, quickly, quickly, and smoothly, smoothly. I'm going to put a period at the end this time because this is a complete sentence that I wrote. Now that I've finished taking notes from my image on sharks, I'm going to start researching from a text. I am going to continue through the presentation about sharks because that was my animal. Then I can see there are 2 different websites to choose from to do my research. I am going to select just one to read and click on it. As I am reading, when I come across a fact that answers my research question, I'm going to pause and record it. Here are the 2 websites that provide text for us to explore. I am going to click on the second one. Sand tiger sharks hunt along the bottom of the ocean and feed on bony fish, crabs, lobsters, and other smaller sharks. I just read that sand tiger sharks hunt bony fish, crabs, lobsters, and other small sharks, which is something that helps them survive because that's their food. For this fact, I'm going to record it as a picture with a label. Can you figure out what I would draw next? How do you think I would have labeled this picture? I drew a smaller shark and I labeled my whole picture as food. Now I'm going to keep reading. See if you can find one more fact I could record. Sand tiger sharks are also known as sand tigers and gray nurse sharks. Like all sharks, they breathe underwater through their gills, but sand tigers have one unique habit. They are the only sharks that come to the surface to gulp air, but not to breathe. The air ends up in its stomach. The air makes the shark more buoyant so it can float motionless in the water as it watches for prey. This chart tells me that sharks are a type of fish. They are carnivores, so they eat meat. They live about 15 years or more. They can be 6.5 to 10.5 feet long and weigh 200 to 350 pounds. Sand tigers generally hunt at night just above the ocean floor. Sand tiger sharks like the shallow water close to shore, and so have sand in their name. The tiger was inspired by their big appetite. Sand tiger sharks look ferocious with a row of jagged teeth that you can see even when their mouths are closed. However, these fish are not very aggressive toward people and bother people only when people bother them first. Many aquariums keep sand tiger sharks in their shark exhibits because they're so impressive looking and survive well in captivity. On the top of its body, a sand tiger is brownish gray and often sprinkled with darker spots. Its belly is whitish. Here is a map that shows us where the sand tiger sharks live. Those spots are marked in yellow. Some kinds of sharks lay eggs. Others, like the sand tiger, give birth to live young called pups. A newborn can swim and eat right away. When young, their main danger is bigger sharks, but once they grow to their full size, they no longer have major predators to worry about. What is one more fact you think I recorded? The last fact I recorded was that sand tiger sharks gulp air to float. Did you find anything else I could have chosen? Now that I have finished taking notes from one website on sharks, I am done researching from texts, but I can certainly go back and read the other one if I wanted to. Just like that, I have completed a whole page of research notes that answer my question, how do sharks survive? Remember, take your time researching and recording your notes so that they just focus on answering your own research question. Have fun with this. I can't wait to see and hear what you learn. Good luck, researchers!